Yes! It's live, we're rolling, and hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Uplifters. For those of you who don't know it or have forgotten it, it's the series that allows me to invite absolutely gorgeous people to talk about their adventures in life and how they inspire people to more, to greater, and to become more of who they truly be. And today, after having a lot of technical hiccups, right, Peter?
Yeah.
We finally chose to have this trip in our favorite place, in our favorite town. Let's do it.
That's
like
true.
this.
No, it's true. In the park, 3 fountains.
And those of you who are watching me a lot during the lives, you know that most of the lives are done from here. So how does it get any better than that? And without much further ado, I would like to invite Peter.
Thank you.
Schoenaerts.
Yes.
To let us know who he is and what's so special about reinventing yourself when you have a code word.
Yeah.
And that's passion.
I think reinventing is the word after or during the Corona pandemic.
Yeah.
In short, you want to know who I am?
Yes, who are you? At least today, because tomorrow you never know.
You never know. I'm an actor. I would say I'm an actor, but I studied Dutch and English literature and linguistics in Louvain in Belgium. And I always wanted to become an English teacher as a child. I really loved English.
I did that.
And so I studied Dutch and English, and then I didn't become an English teacher. That was the first time that I had to reinvent myself. I became a Dutch teacher. I became a teacher teaching foreigners Dutch. And I really loved it because I was helping people getting to know the culture, the language, starting a new life often. And I did that for several years.
Wow.
And at the same time, I also did a lot of theater, and I also did some TV roles like 25 years ago.
Some people know Peter in Belgium.
And I finally decided to do proper actor training, and I did that in the at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York.
It's like, you know how I'm looking at you right now? It's like you're my dream come true.
Oh no! You're my dream come true. No stress here. So
imagine this, your dream, my dream in you coming true, and your dream in me coming true. No stress with acting skills. What would that give?
Let me tell you something. I lived 4 years in New York. I did the acting school there. I taught Dutch at a Dutch school. It was the best time of my life, even though I'm still very happy. But I had a Belgian friend visiting me, somebody who is a presenter at the Belgian radio, a famous person. I'm not going to say who it was, but she was visiting us. And I was always looking up to her like, oh, she has the best job in the world. She's working with language. She hosts a radio show. You know, she has everything. Yeah, and I'm still studying in New York and, you know, doing what I like. But
studying in New York and doing
then
what I like.
She tells me, oh, I would love to swap lives. You have the best life. You are in New York. You have a nice view from the apartment. And I'm like, no, I would like to have your life. You are doing a radio show. And so that was the first time that I realized you will never have exactly what you want and what you planned, but you can make the best of what you're doing. And so since then, I've always kept that at the back of my mind.
I love that.
And we'll come back to that, I'm sure.
I love that. You can never have what you think you should be having, I would add, but you can always make the best with what you have.
Yeah.
It's like what I want. I'm sweating.
It's almost 30 degrees.
It's almost 30 degrees
centigrade.
in the shadow. Oh!
That's no earthquake. It's just
it's just my dog.
Not stable.
And it's my dog.
And the dog.
We just hit the camera. Okay, so how do we fix this? Excuse us for the technical issue. Okay, please, camera, would you please?
I think maybe people don't mind.
Work with us. Okay.
Okay.
Fixed.
There we are again.
Okay, that was the moment.
We were. I was telling you all what I did in the past. So I was a teacher. I did actor training, and I wrote books. I published books for people learning Dutch, for example.
Please notice this. Well, I wrote books. I published books.
Well, I still do.
Like this is something everybody does every day. Yes.
I can imagine that sounds a little, but no, I just had an idea and I was like, I really want to realize that, and then suddenly, a few months later, the book is there.
This is...
I think you should never be afraid of what you want to accomplish, or that's also something I learned in the States.
Never be afraid of
never
what
be
you
afraid
would like
of
to
what you would like to, and you need to help each other. You need to motivate each other very often, and that's typically, I think, for the Low Countries, Belgium, Flanders, Holland, maybe. You say like, oh, I have this idea, and people are like, do you think you're able to do that?
Yeah,
do you have enough money? Aren't you afraid it's gonna fail?
Yeah.
And in the States, people are like, wow, that's a great idea. Let me know when you're finished. And so I try to keep that kind of state of mind. If you really want to do something, then you have to go for it, and don't let other people influence you in a negative way.
So who are the people around you right now in your lives? Are there people who are supporting you, who are encouraging you, who are willing to see you succeed, or somebody else?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think also regarding circle of friends, sometimes I see people who have friends who really keep their other friends down, and I'm like, I don't know if they're the best friends, if they don't try and help you and motivate you.
Or at least, be there and shut up if you don't agree with me.
Yeah, sure.
But
and you don't have to agree. I'm not saying people should always agree with you. And people could point out mistakes you make, or just to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in a helpful way. There's a difference between making somebody not do something and helping somebody, guiding somebody along the way of doing something.
I love that. There's I might not be always agreeing with my friends or whatever they are choosing, but what can I be as a friend that would allow them to go through their own experiences, even if I have a different opinion.
And I think that having a different opinion can be very helpful, because it helps you find good arguments for doing what you do. It helps you convince someone. I think every now and then you should really be of a different opinion, and it makes you think deeper, I guess. It makes you choose what you want to do. If everybody just agrees, then you wouldn't do anything anymore.
I would say that every time that happens, we have a dog who would like to contribute, so don't worry if you see a head here.
The dog is really nice, yeah.
When you have somebody who really opposes another point of view, for me it's like inviting me to have more clarity in what I have to say about that, or to express, or to bring into the world. Because how many times you think, I would like to do this, I would like to do that, but actually, like, I'm looking at you and say, oh, you're my dream come true, and you look at me and say, oh, you're living my dream. And basically we are kind of sensing other people's wishes and what they would like to be and have, and at some point you say, oh, if those people want it so much, maybe I should want it too, kind of thing. And then you finish your studies, you become the lawyer, it's just examples, not that we have anything against, but then you reach the 40s and you say, I would like to be an actor. And it's like, because everybody else wanted to become a lawyer at that moment in time, you just thought it's you, but you wanted to become an actor.
I can imagine. I have a friend who became an actor after he was 40. I always wanted to be an actor, but this is something. The older you get, at least this counts for me. The older I get, the less I let these things influence what I do. I'm like, okay, what if I want to sing tomorrow? Should I not take singing lessons because I'm already too old?
Ooh.
No, I should just take singing lessons and enjoy them.
Should I not? No, you should.
No, but I really try to do the things I like. which
Wow.
doesn't always mean that I am doing that everything I
Only.
do is only because I like it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have to do things that you don't like. That's part of life.
Thank you for
But
this.
but I
She agrees.
the dog agrees too. But so this is my background, and maybe you wanted to come to the point where
I really wanted to come
Did
to
my
the point
last
because
reinvention.
when we actually met here in the Driefonteinen. You were animating the group of moms learning Dutch by being football moms, meaning that the moms of the kids who were attending the trainings here, football trainings, were invited to exercise their Dutch skills, and Peter would come from time to time and animate workshops and have a word with us, which is a very friendly way of getting acquainted to the language when you have this barrier of, oh, but I don't speak it, oh, but it's not correct, oh, whatever comes out of my mouth. And this is what I really loved about interacting with you, that you're so open and people can be whatever they want to be in your presence.
I think that's nice, thank you. I think the openness is very important. I always try to approach people with respect. Whoever it is, whatever they do, if they are highly whatever educated or not at all, there's no difference to me. And I think you often you can already sense how people are, if they are open or not. And I try to adapt. And I want to be kind to everyone.
This is where it leads me into something else.
Yeah.
Because COVID hit, we kind of were secluded in our houses. Let's say the opportunities were not lying at hand on how to meet each other, and yet you still found a way of being close to people. So tell us.
True. I'll tell you. So just before COVID, let's say 2019, I was still doing a lot of theater. Was also in a TV series, and all of this suddenly stopped in March 2020.
Yes.
And I was writing also. I was writing, working on a book. I could do that. I could continue that during the lockdowns. But I already felt that for months the cultural life would be
kind of dead.
Dead, yeah, that's the right word. And I'm also in a theatre company, and I knew that we wouldn't be able to perform, we wouldn't be able to sell the plays, and so I was looking for something to do. And I passed by a bookstore in our hometown,
Which is called the Book Handle.
Book Handle, yeah. and I see this bookstore, and they're looking for another manager. And I had never, ever thought I would work in a shop, in a store, and start selling something. But I love books, and I like to read, and it suddenly dawned on me. I don't know why. I saw this and I thought, maybe I should do that. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, that's a challenge. And this is also important. I get bored easily. After a few years doing the same, I always want to do something else. So now I just combine things. I'm never bored because I'm always doing too many things at the same time.
So let me just interject here.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, how many of you get bored if you're not having too many things going on at the same time? But how many of us judge ourselves because we are not just sticking to one thing, the old way, which is...
But I guess in these times, I also think we like to do several things.
Yeah.
And often we are good at several things. So I'm like, why should I just focus on one thing that I like? For example, teaching. I like teaching. But if I had to teach every day, morning till evening, and not do anything else, I think I might get a little frustrated, because I also like to write, because I also like to act. So I just, you can't do everything at the same time all the time. But sometimes there's a few months that I'm focusing on doing workshops, doing theater, writing. I adapt depending on what comes my way. And I think flexibility is important.
I like that, because
flexibility.
this is what I adapt to whatever is coming my way. So
I had to
instead
learn
of-
that too, of course. But
Yeah, instead of having that rigid point of view, no, I started this,
Yeah,
I studied
yeah.
this is what I should do. You're actually the invitation for everybody watching now and in the future to kind of have a look at their lives and say, what is there that I like and I would like to try? Because when you say, oh, I just passed by and I saw this bookshop, and then earlier you said, I would like to take singing lessons. To me, it's like you make it so easy and so fun. There's no difference between taking a bookshop and singing lessons.
Well,
this
if
is
you
what
feel like you would like to try something, you have to try it. You will never know if you would have liked it if you don't do it.
Were you ever thinking, oh my God, this is too hard, I cannot do it, I don't know what to do with it? And
I think that is something that everybody has, and even after being an actor for 25 years, sometimes if I have to play a role, I'm thinking, oh no, I can't do it, oh no, oh there's so many people watching, oh this is a famous person I'm acting with, and I'm still nervous, and I'm like, that's normal. So I accept the nervousness and then it goes away. I'm like, okay, this is a normal reaction. It's a human reaction.
thank you for saying this to all of you watching and thinking that even when you're an actor, you don't no longer have this apprehension
No,
of people
I think
watching.
everybody has it.
Thank you.
And I think people who say they don't feel that or they're not stressed, or I think they're hiding it well.
Yeah, well, I don't have it, not right now.
You're hiding it
And
well.
I'm not hiding it. It's actually something that I really like to interact this way. And Facebook or anything that's streaming, it's actually something that I feel comfortable with. But it wasn't like that in the beginning.
Yeah, you
So
have to
it's-
learn it.
It's as you said, you accept it. People will come with opinions. Everybody watching you as an actor has an idea of what you represent for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are what they are imagining.
True. It's
So
true.
I would like to bring you to that conversation that we bumped into each other in the center of our city, and I was like, oh, how are you, and we were looking at each other not knowing, should we hug now, should we kiss
Yeah.
now, should we give
Yeah.
a hand, what are we supposed to do? And then you started to talk to me about the bookshop, and I was like, oh wow. And then you told me a story. Do you remember the story? Because I know that you are somebody who connects with people so easily. And there was a lady who was mourning.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Would you like to say something about
Yeah.
that? Not necessarily names or
No,
but
yeah, no,
it touched me. It touched me so deeply that I said,
I know,
"Do you
this is
have-"
one of the strong emotional moments I had in the store. Let me first briefly say something about the bookstore and I'll
Yeah.
tell the story. So I talked with a friend, because I'm doing the store now with a friend, Anne, and she was also interested. So we talked to the chain and etc. We took over the store and we loved it. It was hard work. I always say I've never worked so hard in my life, and I already worked a lot and hard, because we had to learn the whole. I had never been in a shop. I mean, worked in a shop, so I had to learn everything, like how are the books delivered, how does the till work, how do you deal with customers.
and
Everything.
the stocks and
we had to learn
what's
everything.
new and
Yeah.
the accounting, the
Yeah,
accounting part.
everything.
Oh
So
my
now
God.
we are almost 2 years into it, and now everything is fine and we are relaxed. But the beginning was really,
By the way,
really
he's
hard.
in his day off.
Yeah, I'm in my day off.
He can afford himself one day off. No, I'm
And,
kidding, but it's like,
And what we thought was because we both like reading, but we both also like people. And my colleague Anne, she is a therapist, and
Wow.
since I'm an actor and a teacher, I also like interacting with people. We both like interacting with people. And in the bookstore, we have lots of people coming in to buy a paper or a magazine or books or a game or presents for other people. And we talk to them, and they are all so different. Like I always say, we see like 200 people a day passing by, and I try to be kind and nice to everybody. Some people are really nice to us, some people are really grumpy, and I always think, you never know what
their story
their
is.
story is. So I'm just we're just trying to be kind and open to everyone. And so one day there's a woman in the store, and she buys a book on how to grieve. And I always try to say something nice, vague, because I don't want to interfere with their life. But I see that she buys a book on somebody who's deceased, so I feel for her. So I say like, oh, you maybe you need a book like this at this time. And she says, yes, my son committed suicide. And that was a shock to me, because I hadn't expected that answer, but it was a good answer. She was very honest, and I asked for it. And so this little led to a long conversation. There was nobody else in the store, so we started talking, and I asked her, is it long ago, and what happened? And she told me the story, and I was so moved, I really had to wipe some tears away, and she started crying too.
So basically, healing was happening right at
I'm
that
sure,
distance.
because that is a very strong moment that I still remember out of these 2 years, and I've worked many hours in these 2 years. But this is why we do it, because to her it was nice to share it, because she obviously wanted to, and also that when she went away, she bought the book, we said goodbye, and she said thank you so much for the little conversation we had. And you hear the birds? And it touched me, because this happens. It happens suddenly, you don't know that that's coming when somebody enters the store. So that was a really nice moment, and I think that it was nice for her and for me that we could talk about such a difficult subject without going into detail, or without judging, or without, she could just share that she missed her son.
Yes. And that's, if you ask me, one of the greatest gifts that you are, that people can be that with you. Maybe. That's a vulnerability that you invite them to, which they probably even themselves don't acknowledge that they would like to share. And this is something that, whenever I talk to people in Uplifters in this series, it's something that sparks something in me that I would like to present to the world. So I know that when you're talking about this, there are so many other people who are going to watch, and they are going to say, okay, I'm willing to acknowledge that I've been that person for somebody, or there are a lot of tiny little bugs here. I've been that person for somebody, or that I know that there are people in the world who are willing to be that for me as well. Because what I find it very interesting, and when you talk to me about that, I didn't ask you for this specific example. If I recall it, it was, how is it for you to be there? And you told me, how I like to talk to people and connect to people. And this was for me like, after such a long time of sitting in our homes and not having the contact with somebody other than electronically or on the phone or whatever, to have this chance of talking to somebody and just feel welcomed. That's huge, that's immense.
And yet I think everybody can do that. You just need to be genuine and interested in someone else. And you know what I learned also in the course of my life?
He's so old. I wonder.
I am an actor, so I like show and I like to talk, of course. But I have also learned to listen. Some people, also with friends, I like to give my opinion, and I like to talk, and I like to tell people what I experienced. But, in a store, when you have customers, they don't want to listen to you all the time. So I also learned to sometimes shut up and listen to them. And it's true, if you give people the time. If I ask you, how are you? And you say, fine, and that's it.
And most of the
we
people
don't have
say,
a talk.
fine,
but if I ask you, how are you? You say, fine. And I don't react instead of starting to talk myself. Maybe something will come out of you that you really need to release.
Absolutely.
and I'm giving you the freedom to do it. I'm not pushing you. I'm not saying like you have to tell me something. But silence can sometimes be very, very helpful to start a conversation. And so when I feel that somebody wants to say something or ask me something, sometimes also children recognize me because they have seen me on TV.
Meneer Pastor.
And I see them, and I know why they are standing there. They want me to sign something, or they want my signature.
Autograph.
Autograph is the word. And but if I just am open instead of saying you want this, you want that. Yeah, they are shy. They don't say. But I let them talk.
Yeah.
I let people talk, and then there's often a very nice conversation.
That's
you need to give people the time and space to open up.
I have a saying: open your mouth and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
But there are some moments when I know that if there's no question coming from the other side, no opening, no nothing, it's time for me to shut up. And maybe if I shut up, as you said it, they would like to share something. Is it a glance? Is it a word? Is it something? But there is something else available. But how many of us have learned, if somebody asks you something, just hide everything. Just hide your vulnerabilities. Just pretend everything is okay. And this pretense is, what is it leading to? Nothing.
I think if people have to learn something, it is to judge the situations. Sometimes you can be very open and sometimes, let's say in a work situation or at a place where you don't know the people, where you don't feel comfortable, you can wear a mask. I don't think that's wrong, and you can,
it's
not be open and
feel the pulse.
But you shouldn't always do that. You should know when and with whom you can take your mask off.
How do you know that?
I immediately feel, maybe that is, I don't know. I can feel it when there's a click, when people are interested, when people want to talk. Often people who like to talk themselves don't feel anything that's coming their way. But yes. I've learned to feel like, is that a person that wants to talk or not? If not, then it's fine. But if they want to, I'll give them the time and space, the platform. So, what is it? What is it that you should practice? It's something you have to practice. How to deal with people.
I would say in my language, or the terms that I use, that's an invitation to be present with what is and not with what others would like you not to see. And like listening to your gut, listening to your intuition, listen to the birds. They are so happy that we are doing this. The whole forest is contributing, even the bugs, which are bugging me right now.
And there's a group of children coming our way.
Yes. There's a group of children that's going to pass by. You possibly are going to see them. They're so
speak louder.
Cute. They're so cute. And I wonder what for an invitation are they in trying and in choosing and in going for what you love in life and what you see that is going to be a sparkle of something new. Even if you haven't tried it ever, that's no reason for you not to try it. Like these children, look at them, they're so cute. Maybe now you will not see them on the camera, but we see them, and they're maybe you can show them. Just maybe. Oh, let's do it like this. Look at them! It was just a glimpse, because we don't want to, privacy and stuff. We don't want to get into that.
No.
So Peter, if you were to leave people with like the catchphrase, something to think about, something to ask themselves a question about during this weekend, to start with, what would you tell them?
I like that we talked about reinventing. I think often people imagine that they could have had another life, another job. I don't think that's the important thing. I think reinventing is about reinventing yourself, not the situation you're in, the circumstances. And reinventing yourself means like you only have one life. I mean, here, let's suppose. So you want to make the best of it. And I think that you can always find ways to do what you like, to enjoy what you like. And I've had jobs that I didn't always like, but you know, there's, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but I think you can always look for what do I like here, what, and work on that, focus on that, and be open to opportunities that present themselves, like me suddenly starting a shop instead of sitting at home. This was not something I planned, you know. You cannot. Maybe that's the thing. You cannot plan your life. You cannot design the kind of life you will have.
Yeah.
And let's say that all the rubbish and details are not important, like fashion. I mean, there's
Some
nothing wrong with
people like
fashion.
that,
There's
they have
nothing
a
wrong with
passion for
fashion.
it.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with it. But if your life is, if you are only focused on wearing the latest fashion and finding the latest fashion, I'm like,
Image.
but yeah, you cannot enjoy, because there's always something new, you know. As soon as you've bought something, there's something new. So will you always be running after it and being unhappy because you haven't the latest? I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I just,
I really would like to ask you something.
Yeah.
You know, I have this question a lot.
Yeah.
People come to me and say, but Selena, I don't know what makes me happy any longer. I have lived so many lives in one lives for other people, and I can tell you for sure what works for everybody else, and I know exactly what makes them happy. But when it comes to me, I have no clue where to start. What would you tell them?
I would say travel.
Oh my God, have you heard that? He's my favorite person. He's my favorite person. Say it again.
I would say travel. And you know, there are people who like to travel alone. There are people, one of my best friends hates being alone. So he has, his agenda is full, you know. He's constantly going out, seeing friends, doing theater, whatever. He's always busy because he can't be alone. I understand that, it's fine, and he's very happy. I like to travel alone because you meet people, you see you know, I can sit here and decide when I want to leave, you know. If we are traveling together, there will be a point when you say, okay, we've sat here for a long time, can we go now? This is
It's
fine.
coming.
This is fine. And it's also good, you know, with your family, do things together, but you are always taking into account what the others want. That's normal.
Yeah.
So I like to sometimes be alone, but most, you know, what I like most is travel alone, because you get to know another culture, you get to practice a little of another language, you get to eat something different, you can read something, you can decide for a few days when you're alone, traveling on your own, you can decide what you want to do when you want to do it. And that gives you such, how should I say, that's so relaxing. That's so relaxing, because there's not a single minute that you are thinking, oh, I still have to do this, or I should do that, or they are waiting for me, or no, you're just doing what you want. And yeah, that to me, to get inspired, to relax, that is sometimes travel. And that can be close to home, but just do something on your own and
Change
think.
the scenery.
Yeah, and it will make you think, because when you're alone, you will start thinking about things. I remember when I was in London once for 2 weeks, and I was doing 2 different acting courses. 1 week, or maybe 2 weeks in one place, 2 weeks in another place, and I had a weekend in between, and I was alone. And I loved it. And at the same time, because I had so much fun the first 2 weeks, I think it was a Shakespeare course, I had met so many nice people, and I was on my own that weekend before the second course would start, and I was walking around, and suddenly I started crying. And I started crying because I was thinking, like, am I not happy now? Because I just had 2 beautiful weeks? Am I crying because I'm so happy? And I think it was a mixture of everything. Just realizing, like, I'm doing so much, I'm enjoying so much, I don't know where I'm going to, and I would love to know where I'm going to, but it's not always possible. And so I just let my emotions go, and I cried, and I really felt relieved afterwards.
Was
And
it also gratitude for everything
maybe,
that you
maybe.
have?
And I think people should just let that come,
Be.
let it go, let it be. Whether it's sometimes laugh a lot or whether it's just cry. But I don't think we should be afraid for our emotions. Are you afraid? Nice, acknowledge it. Are you stressed? Acknowledge it. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do something about it. You can work on it, you can try to experience different things to learn to get over it. But let these emotions come.
Let
And
them
as an
be.
actor, I would always say, breathe. You know,
It's
if
not only
you are
as a-
too stressed, then nothing comes out. Your voice won't come out, your emotions won't. Breathe. Breathing
Oh,
is
this
very
is-
important
this
to
is like-
release
I would
tension
say,
also.
besides travel and look for some time by yourself, also breathe. So for all of you who stop breathing for a second, whatever the reason, just take Peter's advice and remember, when you're cramped, not even your voice comes out.
It's true. Can I give you an
Yes.
example? I also do. I often do workshops with. Let's say, disadvantaged isn't the right word, but with young people, with youngsters who might live in disadvantaged situations, and I do drama workshops with them to give them self-confidence, to help them express themselves, because often they haven't learned how to express themselves. And I really love this, and I think this is also very emotional always when I'm doing it, because I can see them blossom. After 2-3 hours of doing silly things and playing games, they are a different person. And they also tell me that they have never used their imagination, they have never done
This is
something
going to make
silly.
me cry now.
Yeah. and I'm like, this is also natural to me, you know? But there are so many people who never experience that, and it's nobody's fault. But they live in a family that they are, for example, they don't have much, or they aren't used to doing cultural things together, or they are in a school where they are
Performing and performing.
yeah,
and
performing and not asked to sit down and use their imagination and play with each other. So I do that in a workshop, in a 3-hour workshop.
Do you
And
do that online as well?
Not online, because you know, I really want to feel if people are comfortable enough or not. Can we go a step further or not? Is somebody not feeling well? We talk separately, and I
And would
usually
you
do that in
consider-
groups.
Would you consider some kind of a online workshop for people to explore their emotions? This is maybe a conversation that we are going to have after
we
this
can have it.
recording. It's
Yeah.
just me poking the bear because I kind of,
Maybe I can think of certain things that we could do, but I haven't done it yet. So we need to think about it.
What did you say in the beginning? This is your first Facebook Live.
Yeah, it's my
right?
first Facebook
See,
Live
is he
too.
doing a great job or not? Yes.
Yeah,
And how
okay.
does it get any better than that? I like it because you're not the guy who's going to say, "Oh, it cannot be done because I haven't done it." No, I haven't done it. It means that you can
Yeah,
do
but
it.
you know Pippi Langstrumpf?
Yeah,
Pippi
Pippi
Langkous?
Langkous.
But you
Yeah.
know what she
I've
says.
never done
I've
it.
never done it, so
I can.
I'll probably be able to do it. And I think that's a good phrase to remember. I've never done it, so instead of saying I don't know, I'm afraid, I'll
do it.
probably be able to. But and you know what? Even if you fail at something, you can have a lot of fun.
Exactly.
I've done things that I failed terribly, but I had fun along the way.
And afterwards.
And afterwards,
When you
maybe not always
realize
at the
what
same time.
So, Peter,
Yeah.
just before we close, where would people be able to find you or to read you? Or because there are going to be also Dutch-speaking people who have access to your Dutch writing and your series. Where would they find you? And if they want to go to your bookshop, if anybody in Vilvoorde is watching, where should they go?
Well, the bookshop is in Vilvoorde, which is close to Brussels. And you can find me on my website, Peter Schoenaerts.
We're going to put
You
it.
can put that.
Yeah.
Peter Schoenaerts. .com.
I will put
On my
the
website.
link.
That's my acting
underneath.
website, but there's references to all the things I do. And you can find me on Facebook or Instagram.
And I
You can
kind of-
tag me everywhere.
you can tag him everywhere.
Yeah.
And me too.
Okay.
And if this has been an inspiration for you, share it with your friends. I know that there's always something more to be discovered. There's always something more available. And if you think, oh, I would like to rewatch this, do so. Because there might be some things that at first instance were not necessarily what you wanted to hear, but what are you willing to hear? In the end is your choice. Thank you.
I want to thank you too, Selena, because this was very nice. I could go on for 3 more hours.
Me too. Maybe we should
So
do
thank
this
you.
on a specific theme.
Okay, we can choose themes every now and then. And
See?
Sure.
How does it get any
But
better?
yeah, she's also a wonderful person, and you can sense that, right?
And I know I'm so modest, like
So-
crazy.
No, and,
No,
and
no.
I'm also so modest. But since she was telling me like, oh, Peter, I'm like, no, it's the other way around. You are such an inspiration. So
We're both. Let's
okay,
agree.
Let's use the inspiration and
Exactly.
throw it out there.
Thank you so much for having watched us. For those who are going to watch in the future, rewatch us. Don't be strangers. Let us know, how does this, conversation land in your worlds.
And if they have questions, just write to us.
To us, to Peter, to me. And well, wishing you what else is possible now for you, that you heard Peter telling you that whatever you would like to do in the world, it's yours to try. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you,
And how did I get so lucky?
because you're the best.
Oh my God!
Bye bye.